my face could look for me. Filter every smile, I had it every day. Just caught at our pace. She said it feels like another day, but I can't say 'cause I can't stay long. I'm not here, but I'm not gone. She said it feels like another day, but I can't say 'cause I can't stay long. I'm not here, but I'm not gone. Oh, I'm not here, but I'm not gone. Not here, but I'm not gone. Oh, I'm not here, but I'm not gone.
Our society and our world are full of these invented and built up and contrived facades. And sometimes some people come along with a hammer and smash that facade. It's a brilliant, powerful hammer. It's a brilliant, powerful hammer to smash that facade. It's a brilliant, powerful hammer to smash that facade.
Welcome to the future. Shit where you please. The Wi-Fi's killer, but there's no more bees. So there's hardly any flowers, there are very few trees, and you'll pay $1,000 for some honey for your tea. But we got these awesome collars, mine's an Apple Model 3. It allows for better movement than the Tesla X Elite. It lets you customize the ads that it implants in every dream. And for premium subscribers, doesn't shock you in your sleep. But it doesn't stop there. It can analyze your speech, and if it hears disinformation, then it notifies police. It's a swift re-education, but it knocks you off your feet like your booster every 7th week. I faced the future boldly with 2 eager open eyes, and I picked a couple nuggets up that blew my fucking mind. Like you can taxidermy someone while they're technically alive, and they'll shine when it's election time. See, the Democratic voter base will pay them zero. Never mind if voting for the scarecrow is a vote along their party lines. They could stare into its marble eyes and claim there's something dignified. Unlike real politicians, this one doesn't need an oxygen or kit supply. But its function is the same as those who came before. The goals are never misaligned. It still spends all its working time performing pre-recorded fleecing sessions where it sugarcoats your slow and hungry genocide, while pouring billions into Nazi coffers, all the while selling you the story that we're moments till the MiGs arrive. So fuck it, ask Zelensky if he'll help replace our leaded pipes. Watch a fleet of Penske's show, stacks of bills in every size. Guess it only took a black sun and a couple Heils. Honorary goose step and some Nazi boots a quarter mile, all while Biden sneers his sordid smile. I don't know what was in this morning's vial, but it makes him stare 1,000 yards through all the prompters and the cards like he can smell the nearest child. His eyes are wide and wild, wider than the grave in which another 1,000 families were tossed in as I typed until they rose up to the sky unceremoniously piled. which sort of flies right in the face of all this network ticker tape where the American economy has superhuman vitals.
And sometimes some people come along with a hammer.
See, I like to think my trial's gonna play like a recital. I'll denounce the world around me and accuse the most entitled, who weaponize their titles, whose pull is something tidal, who'd starve us all to death to best delight their blinded idol. So they might destroy the record, and I will never get to vinyl. So my word is not immortal, but it's final.
It's a brilliant, powerful hammer. It's a brilliant, powerful hammer to smash that facade.
People, you don't think I see you crying in your cars, but I do. Sometimes I can feel it at a red light, someone at my side trying to muddle through. See them wiping their eyes in the rear view, like black hole sun in the sky. Why the fuck won't you come when I need you? Well, this moment in time is as close as we'll be and as far as I'll meet you. Two windows in between us, new moon in the house of Venus. One stranger who sees you and reads your features knows that your alibi might be tight, but it's not quite leak-proof. So if you're sitting at the light and you're crying in your car, just know that I see you. And it's a 50-50 that I'm bloodshot, gun shy, once bitten, twice tried, ribs pried wide to the sky till I'm see-through.
That's you, in case you don't recognize yourself.
You don't think I see you struggling to breathe, but I do. I see you stumble in your everyday grief like I do. I try, but I do. I'm twice bitten too. My mind's split in two. My knuckles bright white from the 10 to the 2. And the song in my head is the theme for a fugue. A state of decay through the filter of corporate news, where they edit the grays and the blues. They whitewash the brown till they drown out the natural hues. And then it's just another fact to refuse, that the corporate ladders for hanging the company noose. Consider it one of your perks, after all it's communal in use. So you can come and hang till your legs go limp and they're shaking you loose. Now you watch 5 co-workers opt for the alternate exit, neatly suspended above where you wolf down your food. And your company gets its incentives embellished by harping on wellness, suggesting you'd best take time for your mental health after your 14 hours are through. Like we gave you a bottle to piss in and fixed up a noose on the crossbeam. Christ, what more can we do? So if you struggle to breathe any moment that you aren't asleep, then remember, most of Americans fear for their savings, fear for their shelter, fear for their babies. You aren't the fringe of exception, but rather a perfect example of capital's rule. And you're far less alone than the ruling class tells you is true. You're far less alone than the ruling class tells you is true. I see you crying in your cars, but I do. You can't keep giving us nothing and think we're bluffing about coming for your heads. Why play civil if you won't listen to 50,000 dead? Now we know our mission, we form a militia, make Congress a prison. Why play civil when all these dead won't make you listen? more American than slaying your oppressors? What's more American than liberty or death first? Man, I thought we were founded on abolishing the tyranny of those who would starve a village all to live empirically. And I regret that I have only one life to give for my cause now that I can see the cause so clearly. I want our leaders, regardless of party, to fear me. I will pick my targets and assassinate them lyrically. I will bring them out into the town square, hook them to the pillory and leave them there. Hillary, I'll see you there. Hillary, I'll see you there. You can't keep giving us nothing and think we're bluffing about coming for your heads. Why play civil if you won't listen to 50,000 dead? Now we know our mission, we form a militia, make Congress a prison. Why play civil when all these dead won't make you listen? Welcome to the fantasy of rhetoric. Welcome to the last of the free speech while we can get it. And I promise you can get it. All you corporate Democrats, second wave Confederates, GOP illusionists, and neo-Nazi bureaucrats. And Stephen fucking Miller, I will see you in the aftermath. When all the laws are dust, there's just moral justice after that. And I will hunt you through the wasteland if it comes to that. So I can rub you in the dirt like a cheap human Brillo pad. I can sleep fine when our beds are burning, Stephen, but I'll turn around and run into the blaze to get my pillow back. As long as I can lay my head down, I can live with that. I can deal with a little ash. I can feel like a little of the old me burn with the bed and the rest of my past. The old world where we all lived and we can't get back. The old world where you didn't give and you'd still get back. Where you could rake in 12 billion and give none back. Those days are behind us. The virus will kill all that. Your wealth is behind us and kindness is meant for the past. Our leaders would bind us and starve us and call it a fast. A sacrament meant for their God that they garnish in cash. And they feed it the poor by the hundreds, that's all that it asks. Its hunger is legion and people in need are all it will have. So our only chance is to starve it and hope that it turns on them. You can't keep giving us nothing and think we're bluffing about coming for your hands. Can't keep giving us nothing and think we're bluffing about coming for your hands.
Who are these people?
Hi, everybody. I'm going to peek out again for Reef just because I want to do that, just like usual. Why is it? There we go. Now I don't see the start bar.
What?
Hi. Behind the scenes stuff. Hi. Okay, so we've got Jacqueline, we've got Mikhail, we've got Angel here for sure. We have Sean. I saw Sean in there. It looks like we got already more than a dozen people watching on YouTube. That's great. We're live. This is How Do We Miss That? Hi, everybody. We're on INN. IndieNews.network. For those who don't know, I am Indy. That is Reef sitting next to me in Florida, but I'm in New Jersey. But the way you see it, we just look like we're sitting next to each other. Hi, everybody. Nothing new happening in the world for sure. So there was nothing to talk about. So we could just shut the show down and be done now. Oh, no, right. There was a ton of shit.
Indy was going to do his monologue. You said you had a monologue?
I did. No, we'll do that later.
Slam poetry?
No, that's Jesse's job. He does the slam poetry around here. Occasionally, I've been known to write something down, but not this time. So yeah, this is How Do We Miss That? We've got some stories that I think people Didn't really talk about much this week because there was a lot of distraction. And rightfully so. The distraction was fire. Lots and lots of fire. And freezing in North Carolina. We're going to talk about that. But it's just been, I don't know, man. Hard to deal with daily. Everybody seems to be struggling or dealing with something right now. And we're going to talk about that even. So we're trying to go a little different. You know, some of these other channels, they're going to cover the fires and what happened and the drama behind, you know, the stuff behind them and the responses from everybody and the nightmares. I will say that, you know, of course we're praying for everybody. It sucks. There's a lot more people that didn't have a lot of money that lost their homes and lost everything than did and are able to recover. But dude, that's devastating for anybody. I don't care who you are. Like, have some fucking humanity. Like, I get it. Like, but I would never ever want to have to be in that spot, and can't imagine having to like explain to my kids why we're running for our lives. And and I got friends out in SoCal. They're not rich, you know. They work at a car dealership or wherever. You know, it's like this affected a ton of people. What is it, 100,000 plus already that we've heard, and they're still trying to figure out it. They're trying to stop the fires. I think they're still. I don't know if they're all contained. I know yesterday there weren't new ones, but I don't think they've stopped burning completely, and there's a big worry about.
I'm betting Austin's rich neighborhood population will still go up. So,
well,
yeah,
that was another angle that we're probably going to cover next week, where the gouging that's starting to happen now, we're seeing in LA rents immediately. And do you think that's not going to translate to other cities nearby? You bet it is. To the popular cities that people know people are going to migrate to from there. Scottsdale, Phoenix, yep. San Francisco, Las Vegas.
Scottsdale does not sound like a real city.
Rents are gonna go up in all those places. I'm sorry to say, it's really sad.
It sounds like a fake city that your buddy Scott decided, you know, he was going to name.
Okay.
You know?
Well,
I hereby call this Scottsdale.
It is named after a Scot. Now we also got a deal from the Longshoremen, but we actually have a member of the fam that has a member of the fam in the Longshoremen. We're not going to say who it is, please, for his anonymity and his protection, but we are going to talk a little bit about the Longshoremen, and we're going to bring that perspective, which I think is really invaluable because nobody else is going to have that. This is directly from a veteran longshoreman and what his take is on the deal. We're also going to talk about, of course, Gaza, because fuck you, Israel. You're making us talk about Gaza every week, so we're not going to stop.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to do a couple follow-ups to last week, and we're going to then do our little walkthrough of where we're at. There's some Assange news. There's Kathy Vogan still suspended. We're going to show some of that. We're going to showcase Golden Monarch and how he was right and predicting shit months ago, and we'll see that. And it's going to be a fun night. So I'm excited to get to it. Even though it's also going to be a little on the gut-wrenching side. And we're going to ask you to deal with that a little bit because everyone's dealing with that. But all right. That's our list. That's our rundown. Before we get started, I'm only going to ask this once or twice throughout the night. Because of what we're doing and because there are so many people that are struggling, and each one of these people we're going to be showcasing for a little while is also going to be asking for contributions. I'll show this now. If you can contribute to the network, awesome. Those are the ways to do it. Cash App, Ko-fi, PayPal, and now INN newsletter. We also got a Patreon, Gilgamesh, this week. Thank you so much for the monthly subscription on Patreon. We really need the support. We are completely user-funded. We don't take ads. We don't take sponsorships. We don't even do referral codes, even though we have some of those. But we really believe in, uncorrupted and untainted news and delivery of information. And the only way to really do that is to only be funded by our users and to not have sponsors potentially influencing our content. So with that being said, if you can possibly contribute, those are the ways to do so. And those are the amazing people that are on our wall of fame that have already done so since the day that we started, really. I mean, it's a small, tight-knit family that we hope will grow and get larger, but we appreciate every one of these people. Seriously, they're fucking phenomenal. I love them. I love them so much. All right. So our first story is this one about the Longshoremen. And I wanted to first bring, holy shit, World Socialist website. I love them because you can count on WSWS to call every union deal a sellout deal. And that's why I love those guys. Every union sells out their rank and file. The leadership is always in bed with the management. It's always just a capitalist grab. And they're trying to cover for capitalism and automation and all the things that unions are trying to stop. And the workers are trying to stop this acceleration of. So, yeah. Sellout deal announced for the dock workers as the ILA bureaucrats praise Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So we got Port Elizabeth, and I live close enough to Port Elizabeth that I drove my family into the city a couple of weeks ago, and we literally drove over a bridge and overlooked that. And I was pointing out all the little containers to my kids and everything, and it's just kind of cool to see that photo here. So what it says is that on Wednesday night,
Jersey's got to go over a bridge. Who would have thunk?
Well, to get to Jersey City, there is a river, and they do they do have a large port in Elizabeth, yes. But on Wednesday night, the ILA, the Longshoremen's Association, and the USMX, the Maritime Association, announced that tentative agreement for more than 40,000 dock workers on the East and Gulf Coast ports. Again, we covered this back in the fall because there was a 3-day strike. The agreement is a highly political decision. No surprise there. In October, a 3-day strike was shut down via a 90-day extension of the old deal. So that was going to be coming up this week. The tentative agreement averts the resumption of a strike when that extension expires on January 15th, now only 3 days before 5 days before the inauguration of Trump, 3 days from now. By blocking a strike, ILA officials are trying to prevent an open conflict between dock workers and the incoming fascist administration or the outgoing fascist administration. It doesn't really matter.
Administration.
Which would puncture Trump's right-wing populist rhetoric about being pro-worker. By reining in opposition from the working class, the ILA bureaucrats are also giving Trump a free hand to carry out mass deportations from day one as part of his drive to rip up democratic rights and establish a dictatorship, which that's trot fear-mongering to a point. He claims it, and
don't be rude.
I know. Thank you very much. But that's not... Let's see what he's actually going to do. I don't think he's actually going to do that, but maybe. We'll see. Biden deported way more people than Trump, but I don't know if he points that out. But these guys are no fans of Biden either. The ILA, the union, issued an extraordinary statement Wednesday night, calling Trump, quote, one of the best friends of working men and women in the United States. Holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Wrong.
Well, Trump wouldn't think you're wrong, but sure.
No.
Citing a 2-hour meeting with Trump at his Mar-a-Lago, Florida estate last month. We all remember Harold Daggett, who literally issued the threat and then called for the strike and put the strike on and took the strike off. He declared the President Trump gets full
like it's
credit.
the clapper.
President Trump gets full credit for our successive tentative master contract agreement. I got to say that's what he sounds like to me. So a little bit like Daffy Duck. I mean, but and you know, he leads a massive group of that's run by the mob. Let's call it what it is. So Daggett also points to Trump's social media post last month.
You mean water management? Water management.
Waste management.
Water management.
Oh, now it's water? Water? Okay.
Yeah, water management.
So Daggett pointed to Trump's social media post last month, of course on Truth, attacking foreign companies for cutting dock worker jobs through automation because it's 5 times more efficient and reduces injuries and everything else. But that's a whole other story for another day. The purpose of this post...
It's cost effective.
Well, that's efficient, yes. The purpose of this post was to present Trump's trade war measures as a boon to American workers, which is bullshit. In reality, they're designed to benefit U.S. capitalists at the expense of workers, both in the U.S. and worldwide. They don't care where you live. They want to exploit you for more profit.
Yes.
Only a few days prior, the real president, Elon Musk, who's playing a key role in the new government and who's carrying out mass layoffs at Tesla. Yes, you can click the link to look at that. Another World Socialist article from April. Okay, had attacked dock workers for being lazy and entitled. Of course he did, because he's Elmo. During the October strike, Florida governor and Trump ally, barely, Ron DeSanctimonious, threatened to deploy the National Guard. That would have been funny, to forcibly reopen the ports in his state.
Ron DeSanctimonious.
Thank you. That would have been really hilarious to actually watch that try to play out. If the dock workers struck when their contract extension expired January 15th and closed some of America's most critical ports, this would have created a significant political crisis for the newly inaugurated Trump administration. I don't see why, and rapidly forced it to take similar anti-strike measures. Disagree, but okay. I don't think that necessarily would have been a crisis for them. It would have been 5 days old already and probably settled by the time Inauguration Day would have happened. Trump could have come in and been the hero, but let the thing expire and really push them out. But Harold Daggett makes deals, and they got quite a bit. And here's what they're going to say.
Makes very good deals.
He's a deal maker. I make deals all day long. We're going to make deals. The ILA bureaucrats are working diligently to prevent that, of course, you know, the anti-strike things, and promote the fascist president as a champion of the working class to boot, which is advantageous to the dock workers to have the president on their side and speaking and saying good things about them versus, I don't know about those guys. Maybe we need to automate. He's going to do that anyway. Look, we all know that. All right. At some point. And it may be next week that he does that, but that's after the deal's signed. That's what Trump does. And they take him at his word. People are saying the best deals. That's right, Lone Star. All right. Reflecting the U.S. oligarchy's support for the would-be dictator, USMX chairman and CEO David Adams said the deal was thanks in large part to Trump's leadership. Again, and that the USMX looks forward to working with President Trump and his administration. Again, you're running the ports. You need the president.
You think boot polish tastes good?
Well, maybe, but it certainly helps to have the president on your side versus in opposition to you if you run the ports, and you just got a deal done to prevent him from having to deal with this once he comes in. Now, I understand. Fired. Well, they're all not going to be fired now because they did this. It is bootlicking. So the International Workers Alliance of Rank and File Committees, the SEP and the WSWS call for workers to vote the deal down by the widest possible margin. Never going to happen. No. As the WSWS wrote on Tuesday, workers can win their demands, but it requires building rank-and-file committees to transfer power from the ILA apparatus to workers themselves. This must be connected with a
Or build
global
pitchforks.
strategy. What's that?
You know, pitchforks, they could build those.
They could, but I don't know if that'll just get them fired in the end. They want to work.
Luckily, they also have fire with them with the pitchforks.
But this must be connected with a global strategy of uniting with other sections of the working class, even though, what do they call those? Sympathy strikes are illegal technically in this country. Right? We covered that 3 years ago with the McDonald's thing.
I would never say that that's what it was. No, it's not. We're not doing this in sympathy. You know, like you would just deny it.
Right.
The whole time.
But it includes dock workers in every country, a global movement and a global type of union. That's interesting. Again, don't know if that's necessarily what I mean. I'd like to see them kind of come together in some type of an organization that gives them power, but it's not a workers' union because that's just another organization that has its own marketing and its own agenda that doesn't necessarily have the benefit and the best interests of each worker at each individual port in mind. So I'm big down on those type of unions. I mean, let them organize together and kind of affiliate and collaborate, but each union should be a standalone of its own, fighting the bosses in its own unique setting. I'm a big believer in that because otherwise you get guys like Harold Daggett that then speak for the longshoremen and for the guys on the docks, which some appreciate and like, others maybe not so much.
Sometimes maybe good.
Sometimes a maybe sheet. Yes.
Sometimes maybe sheet.
I was waiting for you to finish
Let
the
people
sentence.
fill in the
Come on,
blank.
I was waiting for the board.
You know.
In particular, ILA members must demand adequate time to study the entire contract. This is the other thing that we're about to learn about, not just self-serving highlights handed out at informational sessions, quote unquote, controlled by union officials, run by Harold's buddies and his underlings and his capos. I hate to use that term, but you'll understand why.
Just only use mafia terms, please.
All right.
That's the only way I understand it. You know?
Workers must also organize rank and file oversight of the voting process. Given the corruption of the ILA bureaucracy and the extreme political sensitivity of the vote, it's entirely likely that the union is prepared to deal with opposition to the contract through fraud, intimidation, and other underhanded tactics. Allegedly. Remember, we don't want to end up. Look, I live in New Jersey. I don't want to end up in a ditch somewhere. Come on. All right. There can be no doubt that the contract is a betrayal, which gives into port operators' main demands to automate away thousands of jobs. This issue was supposedly so acrimonious that talks broke down again almost immediately after they restarted in November following the strike. Not surprising there either. Yet, somehow a new tentative agreement was supposedly reached little more than 24 hours after the talks restarted on Tuesday. Holy shit. This reminds me 100%. Do you remember when UPS made the deal with the Teamsters? They had walked away from the table for weeks in July. They had done the practice striking where they were practice picketing with the UPS guys, scaring the crap out of management. Management comes back to the table on July 26th when they were going to strike August 1st. And they made a deal on July 26th and caved and gave the union basically everything they wanted, barely got a concession at all. I mean, right? That sounds awfully familiar here. All right. So 24 hours after talks restarted, they reached a deal. In fact, secret discussions were already ongoing. Yep. CNBC reported that an 8-hour meeting last Sunday where parties agreed on language including there is a commitment by the parties to research and utilize all technology that would assist an operator in being more efficient and productive. This exposes the supposed bitterness of talks as theatrics designed to sell the pro-management deal to the rank and file as the product of hard bargaining. That just straight up says automation for efficiency and productivity.
Yep.
In Wednesday's joint statement, the ILA and USMX said that they would not be providing details on the contract in order to allow the rank and file members and USMX members to review and approve the final document.
We offered them a deal they can't refuse.
Well, we're offering them a deal that they can't really see. What this really means is that the contract would have no chance of passing if workers knew really what was in it. The use of such information blackouts is the typical method used to prevent workers from examining and discussing the details in the deal so contracts with secret concessions can be rammed through. Yeah, that's pretty frequent. I'm not allegedly. Again, allegedly. In contrast, the ILA had shouted from the rooftops that it had won a 62% wage increase as part of its deal to shut down the October strike. So in a Freudian slip, because there are so many of them from the Washington Post, they said that the wage gains and new protections preventing automation from replacing jobs come after similar gains in recent years were won by unions representing auto workers, Hollywood actors and screenwriters, and UPS delivery drivers. That's laughable, because in reality, every one of those contracts was passed under false pretenses, using wage increases as a cover for tens of thousands of job cuts, which began almost immediately before the ink had dried.
Yep.
Every single one. UAW, Hollywood and screenwriters, they started cutting people immediately. UPS, they got less full-timers conversion from part-timers, and then they cut 15,000. And now they're gonna convert 90% of their warehouse workers in some cases to automated and to nothing. Yeah. So more than a week before he even takes office, the deal shows that an essential part of the fight against Trump is a fight against the union bureaucracy. And here, I agree. The working class will be thrust into struggle against his policies, which include ripping up core democratic rights and massive austerity and war on a scale not seen before in American history. That I don't agree with. I don't think he's going to create war on that kind of scale. I certainly hope he wouldn't, and I don't think that there's really been any kind of indication that's what's going to happen, but maybe. Those workers who sought to register their anger,
it'll be the same amount of war that is already here.
Right. But,
I imagine.
I mean, Biden is blue Trump, Trump is red Biden. And one of these days, they'll figure that out.
No, he's got a point.
Those workers who sought to register their anger at the status quo by voting for Trump will soon be afflicted with buyer's remorse. I think they've already started to get afflicted with that once they looked at the Miriam Adelson chosen cabinet. The bureaucracy, on the other hand, is openly aligning itself with fascism and the oligarchy which Trump represents. Not really. He represents the establishment, but not really the oligarchy. He's just a steward. They're promoting his America First protectionism, sort of, and anti-immigrant policies. 20% of the country's buying that shit. Falsely equating the interests of American capitalism with those of native workers. Yeah, okay, I don't really see that talking point flying around anywhere, but you can say that. A fundamental turning point is underway in American history, but the union bureaucrats' support for Trump was preceded by their role under Biden, who relied on them heavily to limit strikes and impose sellouts. right? And this was seen as key to preparing the home front for war, such that Biden called the AFL-CIO his domestic NATO last summer, which, by the way, announced this week, and I don't think I brought it here, but they're merging with the SEIU again. They're bringing the band back together. So what Tom finishes here with is that decades of anti-communism, support for imperialist war and regime change, nationalism, and its deep dependence on ties with management and the government have made the union bureaucracy a natural base of support for fascism. The ILA bureaucracy vented this outlook in an anti-communist statement over the weekend, defending in particular its decision to move military equipment during the October strike. Which, if you're on strike, I thought you're on strike. But no, you continue to send bombs to Israel, and you continue to send bombs to the Ukraine and wherever else. The unions are lining up with plans to convert the entire Western Hemisphere into a U.S.-dominated fortress as a first step for U.S. imperialism to conquer the rest of the world, especially China. No, Tom, no.
China.
No. This goes much bigger than U.S. imperialism, pal. This is North American Union. This is One World Government. This is Bilderberg Group. This goes way bigger than Trump. Trump is come on, man. Come on, man. While Trump was involved while Trump claimed to have been involved in talks between the ILA and USMX, he publicly threatened invasions of Greenland, Panama, and Mexico, and has taken to calling Canada the 51st state. Like I said, North American Union. In particular, Trump has attacked growing Chinese business interests in Latin American shipping, where China has invested billions of dollars. So again, this is not about they're going to end up all making deals with each other. All right. Teamsters President Sean O'Brien. Now that's really funny. An early union backer of Trump. Excuse me. Wait a minute.
I don't know about early.
Wait a minute. Stop. How about he never backed Trump? Sean Fain opposed him. O'Brien never endorsed anyone. Okay? He wouldn't endorse Harris, which his union allegedly said they wanted to do. All we saw was that the union wanted to endorse Trump, and he wouldn't let him. He didn't want to get political. That's bullshit. All right? He's given several interviews endorsing Trump's extreme right policies, especially his attacks on immigrants. No. Sorry, that's crap. There's more immigrants that are working at UPS underneath Sean O'Brien's purview. That's bullshit. Sorry, man. That don't fly with me.
If
and
you've got video,
I'm not a Sean O'Brien fan.
I'll take it.
While he is himself descended from Irish immigrants, his ancestors supposedly came here the right way. No, he's against illegal immigration. He wants people to do it the official way, sure, and go through channels. But he doesn't. He's got a million workers that are on the books to worry about. I mean, I understand. He's not. I still
Most
wouldn't
of
call
that
that
is pandering anyway.
Anti-illegal immigration.
So,
Look, there are legal ways to come into the country. We've made it very difficult and expensive and hand-selected and everything else.
down with borders. Fuck the borders.
I am not for a borderless state and for open borders that everybody says.
No more.
No more. No more. But what I would say is that if we drop bombs on your country in order to displace you and create conditions that are so nightmarish that you can't live there anymore, you should be allowed to come here and live here. You should be allowed to come and live here at that point. Fuck, dude. That's called asylum, and we do have a mechanism for that. Right? They just abuse the asylum system.
Mr. Superman, he knows here.
No. Okay. So Yes, when people who come into this country with the agenda to commit crimes and do things that are not popular in America, that's a problem. Yeah, he's pandering a little bit.
Some I assume are good people.
He's got some right-wingers in his base he's got to pander to and represent, too. I mean, he can't just completely spout off. He's got
But, okay.
He's gotta. Plus, he's got the president coming in. All right?
Okay.
But here we go. In addition to the racist attack on immigrants and criminals, this separation between foreign and American workers is false to the core. Okay, the shipping industry expresses in the most direct form the international character of the working class. U.S. ports handling cargo from every continent, from ships crewed by workers from all over the world, are critical nodes in world supply chains. Yeah, but those ships crewed by workers don't get to live here automatically. All right? Yeah, they're visitors, travelers. Yeah, very different from what these guys are talking about, which is smuggling themselves into the country and working illegally. That's a whole other story. And a guy who worries about hiring workers legally would certainly be against that, and I can understand that. I'm not making excuses for him, but I can understand. And I don't like Sean O'Brien, but I respected the fact that he didn't pick a side when it came to Trump and Harris, because he was being under pressure big time too. And he went and spoke. He has to speak at both conventions. He really did play down the middle and tried to represent the workers. Even though I know it was
played both sides.
Yeah, he played both sides. Yep, played both sides. That's what a union representative, I thought, is supposed to do. Yeah.
I think you could do neither, and that's probably better. But
I don't know if you're going to get elected head of the union at that point. I disagree.
Well, then get rid of all of them and just do workers' co-ops and or take the means of production completely.
I'm down with that, but that's not the system we live in. So the ports themselves...
So what, you Ben Shapiro? We live in a capitalist society?
Facts don't care about your feelings. My wet ass P word.
Go make a pussy wet once.
My wet ass P word.
Come on.
Fuck.
The ports themselves include many foreign-born workers who are full participants in the class struggle alongside their native brothers and sisters. 2.5 years ago, Nicaraguan immigrant Uriel Popeye Matamoros was crushed to death at the port of New York and New Jersey. Port truckers on the West Coast are overwhelmingly immigrant, mainly from Africa, Latin America, and South Asia. In 2022, these workers conducted blockades and appealed to dock workers, who themselves were being kept on the job by the Longshoremen and Warehouse Union without a contract, for support against the law which would force them to give up their status as independent contractors. Yeah, that's something they didn't like very much, right? And that's
also,
a dude
don't
who was
look at how much Merchant Marine uses prison labor too, but that's beside the point. You know?
In the transportation sector generally, there are over 2.5 million foreign-born workers, according to official government stats, equal to 22% of the total workforce. Immigrant labor also plays a key role in U.S. shipbuilding, which has been affected by a severe labor shortage as well. That's something I was involved with a long time ago, a whole other lifetime ago. In addition to artificially dividing workers in the U.S. between immigrant and native born, and that's, again, not what I think they're trying to do, the ILA sellout will weaken the global working class by arbitrarily dividing U.S. workers from their allies and the rest of the world. Yeah, but I don't think those allies are advocating for U.S. workers to be paid more money or get better benefits. So,
but some of them are, you know.
Oh, okay. Oh, sort of, but sure.
Along with them.
How will the ILA support for Trump?
Some are good people.
I assume some are good people. But how will the ILA support for Trump be interpreted, for example, in Latin America or in Europe or in Canada, where the federal government recently banned a nationwide dock strike? They did the thing that we did to the rail workers here. How will the population of Gaza, where the trade unions called for a global strike action to halt the flow of weapons to the Israeli war machine, interpret the ILA's support for U.S. imperialism. Again, that's what they would expect. I mean, we're already providing the bombs and the money. Would it not make sense that our dock workers would ship the same goods there that we've already sold them and produced for them? I don't know. I'm just looking at it realistically. Come on, man. The only viable strategy on the docks or anywhere else is one based on global unity of the working class. In fighting against the ILA sellouts, to prepare for a confrontation with the new Trump government, dock workers must appeal to their brothers and sisters around the world for support. Again, good luck with that, but I don't think they're joining that fight necessarily with you right now. They're a little busy. The watchword must not be America first, but workers of the world unite. Which, unity! And it's not just about dock workers of the world unite, it's about workers of the world unite, which we've always been about. Absolutely. A working class party that actually represented the working class. We've never really had that, at least in our lifetimes. Now, before we do that, one more thing. I got some inside dirt. Again, we're going to, for anonymity's sake, to protect the names of those involved. A member of the fam has a member of the fam that is a longshoreman, and I asked them to ask this relative about the strike and about the TA, the tentative agreement. And this was the text message thread that came back, and I'll read this out, which was, hey, I'm just a clueless peon, just like many of the other members. It's still all a big secret. Still haven't seen the new tentative contract, and we haven't ratified it yet. Automation will come. No doubt in the 1950s, it was all loose cargo. Coffee beans, bags, bananas, fruit rubber. You had to carry it out by hand. They would hire so many longshoremen, and then containers came and lots of people lost their jobs. Same will happen with automation. You still need guys, but less of them. Then it will be the chosen few monsters that'll get this job. And I then sent to them, hey, you know, here's this article from World Socialist website, and at the bottom they're calling for rank and file workers. We'll protect your anonymity, but please speak out and please speak to us. And so I said, would this relative be willing to speak to WSWS? And it was, yeah, keep me out of it, please. I'm almost out of there in X to X months. It's not very far off, and I'll be retiring. If I interview and speak the truth with what goes on at the job, they could start fucking with me, and people in my family or my pension, et cetera, et cetera. And I would say 30 plus years, I'm not going to say how many, but 30 plus years at the port, I've experienced and seen it all. Corruption, lies, nasty accidents. Guy ends up murdered in his trunk of his car. FBI agents in our house. Door. Sellout contracts, etc., etc. I'm done. I just want to walk away, collect the pension, and enjoy the last few years of my life in peace. And it's sentiment like this, honestly, that's why it's going to go through. Because you got a lot of guys that are sitting on the docks that feel like this. And World Socialist website, I love them. I do. I love them. They really try to represent the workers and the people at the bottom. Like, God love them. You know, it's rough. And there aren't many people that are really streaming out there on behalf of the working class. They're trots and they don't get it right. You know, they're authoritarian COVIDians. I don't agree with them on everything. And you can see I had quite a few challenges to the way he presented and tried to frame what Trump is doing and trying to do unfairly, in my mind. You have to at least give him a chance to be the fascist that you accuse him of being. And then you can call him a fascist all day long once he's done it.
I don't care.
I know they don't. So
I don't care about you. I just want your vote. I don't care.
Well, yeah. Anyway, one more time before we get to asking to start supporting all of our other brothers and sisters, which would be
Money, please.
this one, the Wall of Fame, we do have a new slider bar for 2025. Support the media you want to see. We're going to try to fund the network for the year sooner rather than later. And then we can get to helping some of the members with equipment, maybe funding some people doing some things on the road. I don't know. We'll see what everyone wants to do. But the way to do that and to join that Wall of Fame is to donate and to support via Cash App, $, Indie News Network, Ko-fi.com/Indie News Network, or PayPal.me/Indie News Network. Or you can sign up at the INNnewsletter.com. INNnewsletter.com, you'll get, it's all free, but you can also support financially there as well. Want to say hi to everyone that's here hanging out in chat already watching. We are going to be doing votes later tonight on both INN and the Ocho. Over on Rumble, we will only be on the Ocho. So watch us over there after this is over. I've always really paid close attention to what's happening to the workers, to the people that are making the stuff actually go, and not the executive class. That's supposed to be what we were all about 4 years ago. And I think a lot of people forgot that, and they stopped talking about what's happening to the everyday workers on an everyday basis, unless something really big happens. But the truth is that if you're paying attention, something big is happening every week or every couple of weeks. And something like this is going to affect prices of goods. It's going to affect the number of workers that are going to be working at the docks for the next 6 years, I believe the deal is for. Some people will certainly get paid more, and they will get paid to take a short kind of, maybe an early retirement, or they'll just retire and they won't be replaced. And that's what we're seeing a lot of as well. So yeah. And China, and we didn't even really talk about what China's doing. And the reason why automation has been such a big deal and such a big topic is the amount of efficiency that is gained by automating these operations is tremendous. And you also lose.
Modern problems require modern solutions.
Yes, but the modern solution also requires, what do you do with the people who are losing their jobs, and you need to replace.
What do you do with the profit that's made from that automation?
Well, we know where that's going. That's going into Trump's pockets, into campaigns, into yeah.
Cease the production.
Oh, really? Oh, that's a good idea.
Let's do that.
I got another friend that wants to seize the means of production, especially right now. That's our friend.
Capitalism.
I brought articles from our friend Rich Slutzky before, and his publication, his newsletters, Counterspin, Lies, Damn Lies, and Spin. And we've brought several of his articles, which are funny and snarky and go in depth. This one is a different one. And this is going to kick off a segment where we're going to just showcase people, friends, and people that we know close to us and that are in independent media that are really struggling right now. I've never seen it like this myself personally, and it really hurts on a daily basis. It's like, okay, what are we going to get hit with today is almost what it feels like lately. What shoe's going to drop and who's it going to be? And I hate feeling that way, but it's been that way. And so we're going to spotlight and showcase some of the people you don't hear about regularly that also need some help. So the first one is our friend Rich, and that is Rich and Michael. And Rich and Michael, I'm going to tell you about Rich and Michael. And he kind of doxed himself in a way because he really needs that kind of help. Rich has been in and on. If if you've been on Twitter for a few years and you were in our DM chats and you remember there's a guy by the name of Cryin' Grim. And he always kind of made fun of Ryan Grimm, and he always had the autopilot GIF ready whenever we saw Ryan pop up somewhere. And I saw this. Rich and I have been close for a couple of years now. He's kind of co-written a couple things over at INN, and we then also have been talking about doing some other things together and covered his articles here on the show. He says, hello, my treasured audience. This post isn't in our usual format. We aren't looking inside a major corporation or discussing geopolitics today. In this post, I'm seeking support. I really need a hand financially. This past week has been incredibly challenging and financially draining, with more and more bad news continuing to roll in as the days pass. It's pretty unreal. On New Year's Day, my van and home decided to pack it in and stop working. As winter sets in the Portland area in Oregon, this becomes increasingly dangerous for both myself and my partner who lives with me. So we started a GoFundMe in order to sustain potential repairs or replacement of our van. We thought this was it, as bad as it could be. After 4 years of living in a minivan, how much worse could it be? And as it were, fate had worse in store for us. Yesterday, Michael lost his job of 3 years at Intel unexpectedly, a casualty of automation in his field. While he has since applied elsewhere and has job prospects, it'll be some time until he sees a paycheck, and funds are dwindling fast with bills due, like our phone bill and storage locker, two absolute necessities for us as we continue to face homelessness. Yeah, this is Rich Slutzky. Counterspin. And then to top it all off, today I was called today by my mother, informing me that my father, her ex-husband, had been struck by a car walking from his home and was in critical condition in our hometown hospital, some 2,200 miles away from my roost in Oregon, back in Pittsburgh. The news was the breaking point for me. I'd barely been holding it together, but now I'm inconsolable. I don't have the funds to be there with him. I have no chance of saying goodbye to the man who helped raise the man I am today. My father and I weren't particularly close in my later years, but I still remember my childhood fondly, even if we had our problems and even as he had his own. Struggling most of his adult life with a crack and later opioids addiction. Alas, he's still my dad, and I still care deeply about him and his well-being. This news is simply too much to bear, and I broke down, and for the first time in a long time, I bawled like a baby, loud, wet, public sobs. He says he's at the lowest point of his life, can't catch a break. And again, we've got so many stories like this. It's just, dear audience, please allow me to lean on you and seek your support to alleviate some of our troubles, even if you can't solve all of them. I'm publishing a link to the GoFundMe below in hopes that you might share it on your social feeds or contribute if you're able. And if not, I understand. Just share if you can. I don't typically ask anyone for anything, but as I've learned, people who don't ask for help don't get any. So please consider helping us. We be forever in your debt. And I've got this right here, which I'm going to drop in the chats across all the platforms. And it's just, and again, this is just one of them. And I've got a few of these stories that I'm going to bring with us right now. That's just one. The next one, and now Rich had an update. We got one person who I posted something about, please help our friend over on Notes, who said that they subscribed to a year for Rich, who appears to be living with his cute boyfriend in a car or something, paid $40 and was rewarded up front with solid camaraderie, professional promotion, promising. So if you're looking for that, there's definitely a way to do that, to subscribe to Counterspin. But there's also the GoFundMe that I dropped the link in the chats too. The next one, of course, we've been talking about since September. And she did a show last night, Chanda Masta, our friend, Indie Media Award honoree, and one half of Beauty and the Boomer. The beauty side, not the boomer side. All right. We're just shy of 15,000. We'd love to help get her GoFundMe up to 15,000 if we can get it there. If not, again, I totally understand. Everybody's so strapped right now. It's brutal. But I want to use this time to showcase some of the things that are going on, and not everybody that's plugged into our network and our world that's watching this knows about what's happening and maybe has some means and is able to help. And that's why I want to spotlight this and showcase this, because I don't know who sees these. I put these out. They go everywhere. Thousands of people see them across all different platforms. I know some of you. I don't know the others. And if anybody can help, God, it would make the hugest difference. Really, please. So Chanda, she's dealing with late, what was it? Where's the thing about lung cancer? She's got single cell. I'm sorry, I'm losing my train of thought here. But she talks about here at the bottom of the description about small cell lung cancer. I'm sorry, that was what aggressive. And she's now gone through radiation and chemo, and she's now in recovery. And now we're hoping for the best news possible going forward and figuring out what next steps are. But in the meantime, she doesn't have an income, and she had put her mother in a memory care facility, and her boyfriend's mother, and they lost her, I believe, over the break. It's been rough. Applied for help from the state, and I believe she's got some Medicaid from the state of Washington. But again, it's not helping necessarily pay for rent and food and everything. So, oh man, anything anybody can do for any of our friends and these incredible creators. Now, the last update here was on December 19th. Chanda did put out a thing about how happy she was the other day to get back to live streaming. But here, okay, her CEA number dropped, which is good. Been able to cut back a little on the sodium. All right, again, this is back a month ago almost, so we'll get, I'm sure, a new update soon. There'll be something posted, but you know, we've been with Chanda since the day she got diagnosed, and we will be there with her through the entire thing. And she's going to beat this, and I believe she will win. I mean, I do. I genuinely do. She's kicking cancer's ass, and now it's on the way back. And then, of course, we've got this guy. We talked about him last summer. David McBride, Australian whistleblower. Everybody remember David? David's in prison right now for 6.5 years for telling the truth about what happened in Afghanistan. And it was he reported war crimes of his own unit. And there's only 50 days until his appeal, which is in March. They're trying to raise funds, all right, for legal fees. So if anybody, again, well, look at that, and even 7,000 views. I'm going to drop the link to this tweet there. Yes, you know what, Cynic? Absolutely. Fuck cancer. Let me put that up for a second for you. Yeah, absolutely. But David McBride did the right thing and was sentenced to a very harsh jail term. He's not doing well, according to the updates from his family. So we need to get him out sooner rather than later. There is that appeal hearing. So if we're able to help fund that defense and that appeal, his lawyers certainly are earning their stripes by all means. And even Misty was saying, free McBride, because David Shoebridge, who was an Australian member of parliament that was outspoken in the Assange case to support Julian, David is still in prison. Richard Boyle is facing prison. Our whistleblower laws are still jailing people for telling the truth. It's time for the AG to step up and fix this. And I actually created a banner for Misty's Twitter page. Oh, by the way, it's her birthday. Happy birthday, Misty. See the balloons?
Happy birthday.
All right, so that's the Zago illustration. David McBride, by the way, a 2024 Indie Media Award honoree for his activism and whistleblowing. So we've got Chanda, and we've got Rich, and we've got David McBride, and then we get to Western North Carolina, because I felt like it would be, while we are dealing with problems close to home and close to friends, there, of course, are much larger issues that we've been watching and dealing with. And the situation in North Carolina and the way that FEMA has been treating these Americans is so disgraceful and heartbreaking. And, you know, Jesse wrote a song called The King's Colony. And in a way, you know, it also applies to California, because it's about watching about when the fire comes for you. And at some point, it seems to have come for a lot of neighborhoods in the last few years, huh? From East Palestine to Ohio, to Conyers, Georgia. And all of what, you know, Asheville. So Matt Van Swole, who we've been following basically since mid-October, when he started daily posting about what's happening there as a resident of Asheville, he's kind of become a de facto celebrity personality in the area, because he's been relentlessly writing, publishing, and making videos about this every day. Much needed. So this started 2 days ago, where he said that FEMA was literally kicking. No! We just fucking lost the stream. Or did we? Did we? I don't know. Drop frame 0. Are we still live? Are we live? Hello? Anyone? Anyone? Nope. It's back? We're back.
You back.
Oh. Woo! Okay. So, good. I don't have to restart anything. That was weird. Thank goodness. Good job, OBS, today. All right, let's watch this video real quick from Matt.
Good morning from Western North Carolina. I guess we're out here again, begging FEMA to extend hotel vouchers. I feel like, are we doing this every other day now, where we just beg FEMA to actually give us some help? There are 3,500 families currently in hotels that FEMA thankfully extended just for 24 hours. That's nice. But if FEMA does not extend those hotel vouchers today, they have to be out tomorrow morning in this. It is 17 degrees outside, snowing. The roads are frozen over. A lot of these families don't even have cars, but the ones that do are going to go sleep in those. Our intake form for Operation Shelter tripled overnight. Aaron sent out a ton of texts to people asking for help. This is insane. I cannot believe we are out here yet another day just begging FEMA to help us. Good morning from Western North Carolina.
All right. Are we live or are we not live? I don't know. I think we're still live. So, because Grape said, I don't know. So let's see. Now, Matt, then here's an update. So I've been following Matt closely and what's happening here. Now, Senator Ted Budd from North Carolina posts yesterday, finally, that extended hotel vouchers 48 hours with move-out dates now pushed to Tuesday, January 14th. My team and I remain engaged on this. For those who are in need of further assistance, please contact my state offices. Okay, that's great. And here's his state offices. So Matt says, honestly, as grateful as I am for this, I'm incredibly disappointed with the way this has been handled. FEMA and everyone in the North Carolina government knew a winter storm was coming, and every single person waited until the very last second to act. That is completely unacceptable. So that's North Carolina. And I wanted to, he also mentioned, there was absolutely no need whatsoever to cause Western North Carolina residents in these hotels to call us panicking about where they were going to sleep tonight. You knew the storm was coming. You knew the need was there. You waited anyway. And then charities stepped in to fill the gap. Do better. And that's what I wanted to mention is that, and he shouted out this charity, and now I can't think of the name of it. I will definitely have to put it in the description. But they stepped up and started paying people's hotel bills to make sure that they weren't thrown out in the cold. Because the government wasn't going to do it. And then the government basically got shamed into doing it. And then was like, oh, I guess we should probably do that. All right. Unreal. And then, of course, I wanted to just for a second, and we're not going to go into what happened in LA in depth, but I did want to mention that the People's City Council put out a spreadsheet and a doc that if you do want to volunteer, there are tons of volunteer opportunities for mutual aid in Los Angeles. And there's a big spreadsheet on where you can go to potentially help people because there's a ton of people that need help. So I'm going to drop that into the chats. Go ahead.
I know Fee's been making a ton of tweets about it. So, not about that thing specifically, but just about what happened with these fires and whatnot. So, go give her a follow if you haven't already. At Fiorella Isabel, correct?
At Fiorella Isabel M on Twitter.
That's it.
Yep. And I believe it was like at Real Fiorella, no, the Fiorella Isabel on Instagram. She's over there as well. And then on Telegram, it's Fiorella in Moscow. She's still there. Good night, Jacqueline. Good to see you. Thank you for always hanging out and supporting. We're getting a raid by DD. Yes. Oh, that's nice. Good to see the guys wrapped up. Nice. Thanks for that, KYE. Okay. How we doing? All right, we're doing well. Cool. We got fam here. We had a mini crash, but thankfully we're still here. We are. Why are we here? Because we're here. Roll the bones. All right, that's a Rush lyric. Now.
You know Rush.
When
did you know Rush?
I don't know anything about Rush. Now, I'm going to play a speech that actually got me. When I was on the phone, when I was hanging out last night with Oz and Reef, and I kind of put the headphones on, and it was just me listening to it, and he said something at the end that just absolutely crushed me. And he's right. And what had happened here was that a Palestinian journalist by the name of Abu Bakr gave a 3.5 minute or almost 4 minute press conference. And Mary Kostakidis, friend, who's a Consortium News board member, wrote a speech. Every journalist in the world should listen to this, and we're going to in a second.
And how old is this young man?
Oh, he's a teenager. Maybe 16, 17, 18. You can see he's incredibly young.
Yes.
Let me blow that up a little bit more so you can see it even clearer. And he says, I have a word to say against the lack of international support for Palestinian journalists. He writes for the he reports for the Electronic Intifada, by the way, as well. So shout out to 2024 honoree for one of the best outlets, Electronic Intifada. Thank you for sharing Abu Bakr Abed with us. And listen to this.
These are not my words, but the words of every single one here, standing here, after 459 days of the most well-documented and first live-streamed genocide in history. For these days, we've been reporting tirelessly, extensively, and thoroughly on this genocide. It's indeed a genocide against us, which we've been documenting in makeshift tented camps and workplaces. They are really the places we've taken shelter since day one. You've seen us shedding tears over our loved ones, colleagues, friends, and family members. You've seen us killed in every possible way. We've been immolated, incinerated, dismembered, and disemboweled. And recently, we've been freezing to death. What more ways should you be seeing us killed in so that you can move and act and stop the hell inflicted upon us? There are no words to describe what we've been going through, because you've seen our bodies, how they've become fragile, skinny, and fatigued. But we never stopped. We never stopped to tell you the truth, to narrate our stories, and to tell you that we are being genocided, to move your dead consciences, to help a population that has seen every sort of torture and tasted every type of death. Today, we're all standing here after Israel's impunity against us. And we don't know how many journalists should be killed so you can really act and stop Israel's impunity against us. Our message is very clear. We are journalists, and we are Palestinian journalists. We have been let down by the international community, particularly the international media organizations. We haven't seen any sort of support, a single word of support. Even the press vests we're wearing right now mark us as a target. They do not protect us at all. But yes, because we are Palestinians, maybe if we were Ukrainians or of any other citizenship with blonde hair and blue eyes, the word would rage and rant for us. But because we are Palestinians, we have only one right, which is to die and be maimed. Finally, we are just documenting a genocide against us. It's enough after almost a year and a half. We want you to stand foot by foot with us, because we are like any other journalists, reporters, and media workers all across the globe, no matter the origin, the color, or the race. Journalism is not a crime. We are not a target.
Shit. I had to show that. Man, that kid's a legend.
This is the age where you should be giving valedictorian speeches or school president acceptance speeches, or, you know, your presentation to a classroom. Not this. You know?
I mean, what do you even say to that?
Who are these people?
I mean, what I say is, I'm so sorry. Journalism is not a crime. You're completely right and justified. It's disgraceful. It's shameful. It's horrifying to see it. We've been fighting the ideology of Zionism every day. They purchased or nullified all the Western politicians of any substantive power. And we deeply appreciate the Intifada for publishing your work. And one of the likes here was Abu Bakr. He saw it. So, fuck Israel for this shit. For making him do this. Brutal. Sorry, everyone, but this just killed me. He got me. Now, in a hilarious fucking prank, and he fucking drop bombs on your head, douchebag Blinken, he decided that he's going to reinstate the censorship office. So he's just a dickhead on his way out. All right. So we reported last week that we thought this thing was dead. It didn't make it into the new budget. But no, they decided they're going to now roll it into the State Department all right, and make it now part of, again, we reported this Real Clear Politics story about how they shuttered it. All right, but now I skipped a touch. This is Matt Taibbi. I skipped a touchdown celebration because just after New Year's, Gabe reported in the Washington Examiner that as many as 51 GEC employees and tens of millions of dollars were moving in an effort to realign the office to a hub under a new name. The Counter Foreign Information Manipulation and Interference Office. That's literally what they're calling themselves now. Yep. And now they're going to report to the Undersecretary for Public Diplomacy. What the fuck?
Who's the one that was supposed to be head of this before that everyone ridiculed online?
Nina Jankowicz? That's not the GEC. That's a different department. The GEC was that was the presidential appointed censorship information place. But this is the GEC. This is
right.
An extension of a Defense Department funded thing, I believe, but now they're rolling it into state effectively. So the Counter Foreign Misinformation Manipulation and Interference Hub is a mission center energizing a network of. I wonder where it came from. Oh, CIA? No, sorry, it came from Ken Clip. Oh, right, CIA.
Exactly. Sorry. If we could just stop using his shit, thank you.
All right. Well. He keeps putting it out because they keep leaking it to him.
Yes, we know.
Right?
So yes.
It gets worse. Like he says that in case you're under the illusion that the government employees are grown-ups and would never play games with taxpayer money, GEC staff didn't just move funds and change a name. They took GEC employees from one location and physically scattered them throughout the State Department offices, leaving the operation in place but decentralized. They created a Hydra. The bureaucratic version of a fake mustache. Yes. They assigned 2 to each division.
Yes.
All right. The mission statement and memo gave this silliness away. So it appears this elaborate office shuffle was meant as a parting pants drop by Tony Blinken staffers in the direction of their budget conquerors. So fuck you, Tony Blinken.
A new world
in
order
so many ways. All right. And Matt, this is a paid Racket News article talking about the GEC and how Elon tried to kill the GEC. This was a whole John Oliver segment. I can't play that, obviously, on here. Thanks a lot, HBO or whoever owns that shit. But you can read the whole Racket News about this piece. But I did have more important news about Anthony Blinken coming from Mondo Weiss this week that I wanted to get to. And that was that he did an exit interview with The Shift, okay? So the State Department recently announced that it would notify Congress about another massive arms deal, this one worth about $8 billion. It includes medium-range air-to-air missiles, Hellfire missiles, 500-pound bombs, and more, which will, of course, be dropped on Abu Bakr's head. And that's why I brought this, because fuck you, Anthony Blinken, for that. The announcement comes amid a deluge of dire news out of Gaza: flood, famine, extreme cold. Israel killed more than 234 Palestinians during the first 4 days of 2025. No one tells you that. Human Rights Watch and Amnesty International recently published reports saying Israel is committing genocide. Yeah, no shit. We've been saying it for a year.
Yep.
These kinds of developments have never prompted the Biden administration to stop the carnage or even slow down its support for the assault. No, they just keep doubling down and sending more weapons and money. Just one day before the State Department...
In between tapioca breaks.
He's not in charge. It's this guy. It's
I know.
And Jake Sullivan that are running the show. It's West Exec Advisors and the people that are running that. Just one day before the State Department announcement, the New York Times ran a lengthy interview.
New York Times?
Yep.
Oh, sorry. New York Times.
The corporate media stooges for imperialism and the state. All right. They ran a lengthy interview with Secretary of State Anthony Douchebag Blinken. reflecting on the past 4 years, and as usual, he comes off as a man gripped by delusion because he is deeply delusional. When confronted about the destruction of Gaza, Blinken acknowledges the suffering, but dutifully repeats the standard talking points about Israel's right to defense. Except that that's not defense. Leveling 80% of an area isn't defense, it's offense. Murdering hundreds of thousands of people, I don't give a shit what your count is, it's hundreds of thousands. That's offense. All right. He's working hard to achieve a ceasefire. Yeah, bullshit. He denies that Netanyahu he denies that Netanyahu tanked an agreement that would free the Israeli hostages last July and puts all the blame on Hamas in that regard, as usual. Of course, Israel never has to release any of the 9,400 Palestinians it's holding in jails that they've arrested without any kind of trial or charge or anything. They just arrested them. They've got them locked up in camps. They're torturing. They're raping. They're fighting for their right to rape and torture. Quote, one of the things I found a little astounding throughout is that for all the understandable criticism of the way Israel's conducted itself in Gaza, you hear virtually nothing from anyone since October 7th about Hamas, says Blinken at one point. Why hasn't there been a unanimous chorus around the world for Hamas to put down its weapons, to give up the hostages, to surrender?
Because they've already said they would, you dumb fuck. You know this.
I don't know what the answer is.
You know this.
Israel on various occasions has offered safe passage to Hamas's leadership and fighters out of Gaza. They also, part of the negotiation...
Lock me in the room. Lock me in the room with them.
Right? Like the gaslighting little twerp. And then he plays guitar and acts like, oh, I'm human. By the way, on the upcoming...
in a free world.
On the upcoming Jesse Jet...
Shitty Springsteen.
On the upcoming Jesse Jet album, there will be a piece called Humanization Attempts, which is written about Antony Blinken and his attempts to appear and act human.
Look at the gaslight.
Yeah, he says, where's the world? Where's the world saying, yeah, do that, and this. Stop the suffering of people that you brought on. Wait, except Antony used the phrase that we made a t-shirt out of when resistance, when occupation, when you're occupied, resistance is justified. Is that not what I believe? We have a t-shirt at indienews.shop. You can pick one up there for. Colin designed that one.
Very close.
Something like that. There's one interesting part of the interview where Blinken essentially admits that most of Israeli society supports the genocidal destruction of Gaza.
And what better way to say I love you than with a gift of a spatula?
Mm-hmm. or destroying all the buildings in your area, sure. A spatula, 161.
Fucking plug
UHF.
the merch real quick.
The very first trip that I made to Israel 5 days after October 7th, Antony says, I spent with my team 9 hours in the IDF's headquarters in Tel Aviv. Well, that's your first mistake. 6 stories underground with the Israeli government. That's your second mistake. Including the prime minister. That's your third mistake. Including arguing for hours on end about the basic proposition that the humanitarian assistance needed to get to Palestinians in Gaza. Yeah, we see how well that worked out, Antony. Okay. And that was an argument that took place because you had in Israel in the days after October 7th a totally traumatized society. This wasn't just a prime minister or a given leader in Israel. This was an entire society that didn't want any assistance getting to a single Palestinian in Gaza. Like right now. No trucks have made it in since October, Antony, and you know that, you gaslighting motherfucker. Michael Aria from Mondoweiss, by the way, is the publisher of this article, and that they are also Indie Media Award honorees, and I feel like I'm doing their article a disservice by swearing so much, but I just can't seem to control my emotions on this one because it's such a gaslight. Blinken is accidentally drawing attention to potential war crime here. After the reporter from New York Times presses him on the issue, he makes sure to correct himself. Well, there's a big difference between intent and result, whether it's under the law or any under any one standard. They're hedging and
Cite one article of the Geneva Code for me.
Right. The results that we were seeing were grossly insufficient. That is, the results in getting people the assistance they needed. Just as making sure that people are protected. Yeah, like the Palestinian people that are getting burned in tents, you fucking asshole. I think has been insufficient. Yeah, thanks. Thanks for that opinion, Anthony. There's a very different question about what was the intent. No, I don't think there was a question about what was the intent. The intent was to murder the journalists, to murder the healthcare workers, to murder the teachers, to murder the women, to murder the children, to murder the workers, to arrest everybody, and to take the land and level it all. And oh yeah, by the way, that's what happened. Asked directly about whether Israel is committing genocide, he, of course, denies the claim and suggests things might be looking up for Palestinians soon. Geneva Convention, what? You just denied genocide again after the ICJ has already declared it to be a genocide, after Francesca Albanese from the UN 15 months ago declared it to be a genocide? No, it's not, first of all. No, it's not, because otherwise we would be funding and arming a genocide and we would be war criminals and subject to all those war crimes. Oh, of course not. Second, as to how the world sees it.
At the Legion of Doom.
Literally. I can't fully answer to how the world sees it. Yeah, because they fucking hate you. But everyone has to look at the facts. The facts that an occupied people had a prison break after they had occupied and starved and taken away electricity and water and everything else for 75 fucking years. This didn't start October 7th, asshole. I think as well there is, in the wake of this horrific suffering, the traumatization of the Israeli population, the Palestinian population, and many others. How about the Lebanese population that all of a sudden just got attacked for supporting their Palestinian brothers and sisters? 1 million Lebanese displaced. They stole all that fucking land too, and he's got nothing to say about that. How about Syria? They just stole part of Syria.
You're about to do it? Yep.
All right. There's also a light that one can see that.
Oh, they said the Golan Heights will be a permanent part of Israel.
That's right. It's part of the Greater Israel Project. So interestingly, the early days of January also saw the Biden administration announce new sanctions on Sudan's rapid support forces. Weird. After the U.S. government concluded the group was committing genocide. Really? Look into the gaslight. You're literally sanctioning another fucking country for committing genocide? All right.
Look at the gaslight.
According to the UN, 150,000 people have been killed since fighting began in April 2023, and more than 11 million people have been forced to flee their homes. Those numbers sound awfully familiar to me, and awfully a lot like what's going on in Gaza. You can deny that all you want, Anthony, and all vote blue no matter who douchebags, and all the other genocide deniers out there. The New York Times report on the announcement contains this amazing paragraph, quote, "The genocide determination followed months of deliberation inside the U.S. government as lawyers and intelligence officials evaluated the merits of the case," said the two senior U.S. officials. They debated the merits of the case. Some officials hesitated to support the determination because they feared it might draw further criticism of the Biden administration over its refusal to declare Israel's campaign in Gaza a genocide against Palestinians. Wait, they look hypocritical about Gaza by declaring Sudan a genocide? Nah. Like they give a fuck. And then, of course, you've got this asshole from the ADL. I don't even want to talk about what a piece of shit Jonathan Greenblatt is. This guy makes Jews worldwide less safe. Period. Like me. I am a Jew saying, Jonathan Greenblatt, you are making me less safe as a Jew. Fuck off. You can use this bullshit to gaslight people and act this anti-Semitism bullshit. You are the one making Jews less safe. Capturing TikTok might seem less meaningful than holding on to Mount Hermon. Oh, you fucking piece of garbage. God, I can't stand that.
Yeah, except they captured TikTok too.
Yes, they did. Greenblatt called on U.S. and Israeli NGOs to start thinking outside the box by invoking the Israeli pager attack on Lebanon. You mean the Israeli terrorist attack on Lebanon?
Terrorist attack.
And the Israeli raid of an Iranian missile factory. You mean an attack on a sovereign country? All right. I'm not going to read through all that nonsense. Fuck Jonathan Greenblatt. And then I got one more fuck you from the Israelis to the Palestinian people. We covered last week the Palestinian doctor, okay, Hussam Abu Hussein Safia. We still don't know where he is, except we think he's in State Haman. But worse,
Haman?
His mother died the other day.
Yep.
Heart attack.
And kids too, right?
Well, his kids had already died, but he continued to operate after his children had been murdered. But
that was it.
His mother died of a heart attack as he's held in the Israeli camp, basically not knowing where he is and out of concern and worry. And probably a lack of health care and sleep and bombs dropping all around her and worry that her son is being tortured.
Dignity.
So fucking disgraceful. What the fuck are we doing? What are we doing?
Have you no decency?
Seriously.
Where's that? I want to hear that.
Have you no decency, sir?
You know?
May her memory be a blessing. Terrible. And again, like I say to Abu Bakr, I can't even begin to apologize to Dr. Abu Safia. I mean, for all he's stood up for and all he's had to withstand, how do you begin to, besides just giving him his life back, apologize for all that's, I mean, you can't, but, well, we're certainly not monetized for covering shit like that. So by all means, if you're able to, I hate to beg for money like from that and everybody else that's in rough shape, and buy some merch at the Indie News shop. Sure. You know, scrolling across the bottom, he's about to break me. Journalism is not a crime. That kid killed me. He really got me. I mean,
yep.
So I'm sorry everybody for doing that to everyone. That's what I'm seeing in my world. That's what, unfortunately, we can't turn that off. We can't bury our heads in the sand and forget about it because these people are actually suffering.
We're sorry.
But there are so many struggling and suffering out there, and to turn a blind eye to it and ignore it because we're good or because we're we have too much on our own plates to deal with. We can't. We gotta keep our eyes open and our heads on a swivel, and that's what I'm gonna keep doing. And I love you all, and it's just this was a tough week. Seeing some of those places in California and some of those families, and there was a 67-year-old guy who stayed with his son. They couldn't who had palsy or something, and they couldn't move him, and he couldn't get out, and he and his son both died. And there are tons of stories like that, and it's just, late stage capitalism and climate change that we're not doing anything about, and we don't have any real serious leaders that are not bought, paid for, and simps for the ownership class and the ruling class that are trying to kill us. And guess what? They're doing a good job of it. And I'm just here to report on it, unfortunately, and to amplify the good journalists that are reporting on it, that are sacrificing themselves like Abu Bakr, that are putting themselves in harm's way to get the footage, that are submitting FOIA requests and waiting for decades and pushing governments like Stefania Marizzi's been doing. This week, Stefania Marizzi we won our FOIA case on Julian Assange in London. There's a judge in London, Judge Foss, who ruled that the Crown Protective Services, and we've talked about Stefania before, must shed light on the destruction of key documents on Julian Assange. Now, this actually was when Keir Starmer was in charge. She published this in Il Fatto Quotidiano, the publication she writes for in Italy. Okay, she said that for more than 9 years, we've been trying to obtain the full documentation on Julian Assange and WikiLeaks case. And after discovering that part of the documentation was destroyed in 2017, we've been trying to investigate why it was destroyed and to determine if there's some way to retrieve it or if it is now really permanently lost. Judge Foss has ruled that if the Crown Prosecution Service authorities do not comply with her order by February 21st, their refusal could lead to contempt proceedings. I don't know what that means, but they have, who's representing Stefania, why the truth still matters even if Julian is no longer in prison. Julian is now free after a legal and judicial saga involving 3 U.S. administrations, those of Obama, Trump, and Biden. WikiLeaks founder was allowed to leave Belmarsh in June after 14 years no longer walking the streets a free man. The United States let Assange go, but not without demanding their last pound of flesh and an admission of guilt. WikiLeaks founder was placed before a choice: either plead guilty or risk spending the rest of his days in a maximum security prison in the United States for publishing secret U.S. government documents revealing war crimes, torture, and atrocities from Afghanistan to Iraq to Guantanamo. To Vault 7 also, by the way.
Yeah.
As the New York Times put it, I'm sorry, CIA. Did I say CIA? I meant New York Times. The agreement means that for the first time in American history, gathering and publishing information on the government considers secret has been successfully treated as a crime, and this new precedent will send a threatening message to national security journalists. But that plea deal is not only a sort of Damocles hanging over the heads of reporters should they, like Assange and his WikiLeaks colleagues, reveal state criminality in the future. It places a tombstone on the truth for the WikiLeaks founder. Indeed, in accepting a plea agreement with the U.S. government, the Australian journalist was forced to give up his right to uncover the facts behind his persecution using FOIA. But that doesn't mean that Stefania had to. Assange is free, but the truth is still far away and must be sought before, with the passage of time, it is buried forever. Because it matters, and not just to him and his organization. The truth matters, first of all, because although the Assange case is closed, there's no definitive confirmation that the U.S. government's investigation into WikiLeaks is completely closed. And secondly, because the persecution of WikiLeaks has been one of the most extensive in the history of Western journalism. Ola Binny's still out there. Kirsten Hernautson is still out there. They may not go after Julian, but that's not stopping them from going after anyone at WikiLeaks. Stefania. Persecution riddled with grave abuses, from the arbitrary detention of Assange, established by the UN Working Group on Arbitrary Detention, to the CIA plans to kill him, still under investigation by the Spanish Judicial Authority, or also recording him in the Ecuadorian embassy illegally, or. If in a democracy, a news organization and its founder can suffer abuses of this magnitude without any of the responsible authorities being held to account, other journalists will be subject to them, Richard Medhurst, creating a climate of intimidation and impunity. All right, so read the rest of this article by Stefania. Outstanding. I love Stefania, another Indie Media Award honoree, class of 2023. All of these links will be in the description after the show, by the way. Kit Clarenberg also wrote a new article this week, another Indie Media Award honoree, inaugural class 2022, both for the Gray Zone and individually for his work on the Assange case. That it's official: British military facing extinction. I got a lot of questions about this. I think this is a lot of hopium, honestly, and I love Kit, but he makes a compelling case.
I've read some stuff about their Navy that is very similar.
Yep.
So, I mean, it costs too much. Literally it's that. Everything's outdated, right? The upkeep is crazy. Everything costs ridiculous amounts of money,
It's one of the things,
and it's not really useful in warfare anymore.
It's one of the things that broke down the Soviet Union, was the maintenance of the military. You have this massive beast to maintain. So check out, here's the rusting Royal Navy ships on the chopping block. Again, I think he's making a case that, look, there never seems to be a shortage of money to pay for all of this stuff, to update and upgrade. And there's never a shortage of money to pay for Western imperialism. So I would not underestimate.
You got money for war.
Money to, but they got money to feed the poor. Yeah. A very famous sage, murdered poet once said that. Then we've also got La Fleur Productions. On 11th of November, our friend Kathy Vogan, another Indie Media Award honoree from Consortium News, was locked out of her X or Twitter account in a beyond Kafka-esque vicious circle. She remains not just locked out, but permanently suspended. She wrote a letter to Twitter.
Fuck Twitter.
Twitter support. All right. She said, the only thing I have to add at the end is that I have been on X, formerly Twitter, for 15 years and have never had any issues with the platform. However, I'm told that this technical issue, as it's been explained to me by X, has triggered a warning when people try to view my account, stating that it's temporarily restricted. That was way back in November. But now it is permanently suspended. All right. Oops, something went wrong is trending on X. But we did a video about this, and luckily some people saw it. I published it the other day, and that got some more people talking about this again. And yes, Kathy is permanently banned and suspended right now. If I click on that, account suspended for violating the rules that she didn't violate, that they didn't tell her what she violated. She thinks that it might have been that she had DM'd a few people a link, but we DM people links all the time en masse, and we've never been suspended for anything like that. When she gets into the Arc Rose challenge, it puts her into this loop, which then says that she can't be verified, and now she can't get in it at all. And the problem is that now her 15 years of archived tweets have disappeared. All of the record of her reporting on the Assange case disappeared. Her pinned post and a video with John Pilger disappeared. This is a wrong that must be righted. Please, everybody here, tweet to @X, @support, @Linda YX, whatever her name is, Linda Yaccarino. She's their CEO. This is a travesty of justice, of course, and it's done intentionally because they want to silence the record. So frustrating. So frustrating, I have to say. Now, finally, I wanted to give a big shout out to my brother and friend, the Golden Monarch. We talked a little bit about the wildfires in California, and not just the wildfires, but the fires, Paradise, all the stuff that's happened this week. Golden Monarch was talking months ago about Santa Monica, and that it was weird that they got this, they planned and committed a bunch of resources to a Bitcoin office in downtown Santa Monica to make themselves the Bitcoin center and hub of the world. In the meantime, you know what they weren't doing? Fixing the fire stuff. I don't know what happened with Santa Monica, but read this article from Golden Monarch. All right, this guy is a ex-firefighter, union firefighter. His name is Dominic Bay, president of the Santa Monica Firefighters Union, and currently the founder and CEO of a nonprofit company, Proof of Workforce. This whole thing just stinks. It just stinks. Proof of Workforce is proof of nothing. I mean, I don't even know what they describe to be workforce, but it's wrapped around crypto. Like, it's a proof of something stored in a crypto. But guess what you need in order to keep the crypto active? Power. Anyway.
Power?
Yeah. So, by the way, I'm also going to be having a conversation with the Golden Monarch on Tuesday. I don't know if I'm going to put that out Tuesday night as a podcast or it'll be just over the weekend. But we'll put that out at some point during the week. And I'm excited to get the opportunity to talk to Golden Monarch. I've never actually spoken to him. And he did a podcast with Abby and Mikhail over I'm so sorry I can't remember the name of their podcast at the moment. It escapes me. Somebody dropped the name and link to Abby and Mikhail's podcast over there. Noteworthy. It's called Noteworthy. That's right. I'm sorry. I love you guys. Golden Monarch went over there and did a podcast with Noteworthy as an anon. So I thought he's been doing such great work, honestly, on all of the crypto stuff that there's so much there that people still haven't really figured out or bit into. And he's already talked about some of the Bitcoin influencers and how crypto and sports have mixed together. Talk about the Luigi coin. Yes, there was a meme coin wrapped around Luigi Mangione. Amazing. Just like around the Hawk Tua and that type of stuff. And he covers all that. But most importantly, he's making the link between Bitcoin and crypto and Ethereum and Zionism and Azov Ethereum and what's happening with and how that's funding Ukraine and
it's a psyop.
Yeah. So again, goldenmonarchnews.substack.com. Go check him out, follow him, and look for the podcast for he and I to have a one-on-one. Before
Have
we
a good time with your Bitcoin.
Before we cut out of here real quick, let me again one more time make an appeal to everyone. Again, I know everyone's struggling. I know it's so tough. I put up all those stories of everybody who really needs a couple of bucks. Everyone does. I would say give to them right now before giving to us. But I appreciate everyone who does. I saw that we did get something in, and thank you so much. I don't know if it was Sean or if it was someone, Kameshwari Kate. I didn't get to see who it was, but thank you. Oh, there you go. Mikhail said we had him on twice, but I guess the second episode got taken down. Oh, that's too bad. I didn't realize that. Bad Cookie says
I am once again asking for your financial support.
Bad Cookies gives the Monarch credit as well. Looking forward to that very much. Again, I'm proud that I inspired him to take his rantings from the Hardlands Discord and turn them into a publication that people can subscribe to, and more people outside of that Discord can see and understand what he's learning and uncovering. So good times. I'll bet Indy walks like that woman in the Seinfeld episode who didn't swing her arms. Oh, that's really funny. Thanks, Mantis. Yeah, very, very much so. I walk with my hands at my side.
Elaine.
Yeah, Sean says it's hard, but we have us and we only have us. Yes, and we've got Sean, and thank God for Sean, man. And Sean's also going through fuck cancer. Sean's beating the shit out of cancer too, and he's just finishing up his treatments, and we love you and deeply appreciate you and glad that you're here.
Turbo cancer?
No, not a turbo cancer, though there are turbo cancers popping up all over. Things are tough all over.
What about fuel injected cancer?
Oh God.
No?
That sounds like I might actually want it. Okay, so reminding people that we made a new we made a new channel. No, I don't want any kind of cancer, especially fuel injected. That's gross. The Ocho is a new network and channel that we created underneath INN for the lighter side content. The reacts, the wrestling stuff, the sports stuff is all going to go over here. The gaming stuff, and maybe even some reactions to MMA. I know Reef had taken some notes on last night due to the fight, and we might record something and try to get something out here throughout the week. We'll see there. Again, yes, God bless you.
I got to figure out how to get more time in the week.
Yeah, that would be nice. Squeezing in a couple hours would be.
Anyone knows how
nice.
to Yeah, like a little time turner, time travel, something. We'll figure it out.
There you go. Mikhail, there he is. Follow Mikhail. Follow Noteworthy. Good podcast. Okay, so the Ocho is our new channel.
Podcast.
You can follow it over on YouTube and
The
Rumble.
Ocho.
We have not made any new additional channels yet for it. We plan on at some point spreading out to also create a channel on Twitch and Kick, if nothing else, because those are platforms that I think that might work there. And then finally, we've got the calendar for the week. So we already had Pro Wrestling Talk last night. Tonight we had this show, and next we got Boats over on it. It says on the Ocho, it says right on the calendar, so everybody can see it, and there's our little logo. Monday through Thursday, we'll have AM Wake Up at 10 a.m. the simulcast just to our X Twitter account, and that'll be on Friday, the Independent Review. And then we got our INN shows. We've got the Maple Files Monday night at 8. Wednesday night, we're going to have INN News with this guy and Colin.
Yeah.
We'll have the Snow Himbo streaming at 9 o'clock.
INN News.
Yes, that one. 9 o'clock Thursday night, Snow Himbo. And that should be 7 o'clock, not 6. 7 o'clock on Friday night will be Angel in the Afternoon. And 10:30, we're going to do the replay for American Tradition. This Friday night, we're going to do the replay of Everyone Who Disagrees With You is an Extremist, the listening party from, I think it was December or January of 2 years ago. So we're coming up with, we just had a 2-year anniversary for that. So we're gonna listen to that, and we'll loop that once on Friday night. And then again, Saturday night, we'll have Pro Wrestling Talk. And if Oz and Chanda don't go live, look for the Golden Monarch one-on-one to stream live at that time. We'll find out it, and I'll talk to them if they are planning on doing a show Saturday night or not. And finally, because we're at the end, we've got the newsletters. INN newsletter, where you'll get a daily update. I've been doing a weekend edition showing Friday, Saturday, as well as the weekly update that includes the calendar, all the links, embeds. You can watch them all there.
Coming to a Substack newsletter near you.
Well, it is housed there, but you just go to INNnewsletter.com and you'll get to the Substack for INN. And then mine, where the clips for How Do We Miss That are. Mine. Wow, that was weird. Yeah, that kind of clogged my throat. Yes, IndieMediaToday.com. That's where you find all this, all the clips for How Do We Miss That, original articles that I write, stream alerts, guest appearances on other shows. Like I will be also on Hardlands scheduled for Wednesday morning with Kit. So I'll have to write up one of these things for Kit. And I never wrote one up from the Zaccaroni pizza one that I did. That was really good. I really enjoyed talking with him about Zionism and my path to anti-Zionism, especially after what I read tonight. God. But yeah, this is all free, by the way. Again, if you can contribute, if you can support independent media with a couple of bucks a month, that's great. Really appreciate it. Everything that we do is free of charge. No charge for any of this stuff. We're giving all the content away. We want you to see it, share it. Even if you can't afford to support, that's fine. Thank you. Just share.
The price is wrong, bitch.
Tell other people. Okay. Ocho Boats. Thank you, Fred. Ocho Boats. Yes. Bocha's a better ring. Has a better ring. Ocho Boats. Well, maybe. Reese dropping the link for Boats in the chat right now. So if you're there, Abby. Oh, is Abby here in chat too? Oh, that's cool. Oh, Noteworthy is at Abby. Hard to find people if people are just searching for Noteworthy. Oh, okay. I didn't realize that. At Abby do, Abby don't. So thank you, Mikhail, for letting me know that. But yeah, check that out. And I can always share the link. Just reach out to me if you really want to check that out, and I'll share it with you by all means. Oh, Steve Gill, Chanda will be live 1 p.m. Trailer Park Pundit tomorrow. So go watch Chanda, support Chanda. Again, I put the link to the GoFundMe in the chat earlier. It's also pinned to @Shanmasta, CHANMASTA on Twitter. So you can go there as well if you got a couple bucks to help her out. All right, my man. Anything else you got to say? I know I did a lot of talking. All right.
No.
No. Labels are bad. No, wait, no. Support independent media. We need more. We need it more than ever. I keep stealing his line.
Give listen what little boats have to tell you. See you in a bit, fam.
Fuck this shit, I'm out.
No! We just fucking lost the stream! I had to say that earlier for real.
I think I liked it better being blind, when I couldn't read between the lines, and when I couldn't see the cracks in the structure that lay bare before me the whole time. I think I liked it better back when I suspended disbelief and swallowed pride. I thought I knew the difference in the red from the blue, but they both bleed us so dry. They both bleed us so dry. My favorite songs don't hit the same way. I get to the end of a 4-minute track and I'm only looking back thinking, what did they actually say? So you can't keep giving us nothing and think we're bluffing about coming for your heads. Why play civil if you won't listen to 50,000 dead? And now we know our mission, we form a militia, make Congress a prison. No, why play civil when all these dead won't make you listen? What's more American than slaying your oppressors? What's more American than liberty or death first? God, I thought we were founded on abolishing the tyranny of those who would starve a village all to live empirically. And I regret that I have only one life to give for my cause now that I can see the cause so clearly. See, I want our